Yeah, so what I was saying before was Imami. I found him on. So I only really started with Udio, a little bit more seriously, like 3 or 4 months ago. How did you find Udio?
I think it was yeah, it was a YouTube video. By the way, is my sound level okay?
Sound level is great. I mean,
Great, because I have this effect chain. I got a limiter, compressor,
sounds good.
filters, and this mic is not meant for speaking. It's a singing mic, but I've made it work. Okay, yeah. So I found it. I can't remember which YouTuber it was, but it wa was one of these music pro musician YouTubers,
Uh huh.
and he had this clickbait video that it's over. This is really good. This is scary good, and it was about Udio. It was just before Udio was public, I guess. Like it was, yeah, it was in the free phase where there wasn't a paid account yet.
Oh yeah, the first I remember that. That's the first
Yeah,
time I used it. It was really. I mean, I feel like that one was different somehow because I remember messing around with that and it was crazy good. I said the same exact thing. I was like, "This is it." Um, so you were making songs. What did you like? Make a ton of songs then, or you just kind of started and did you use Suno or just Udio?
um, I heard about Suno at some point, I guess when they publicized their existence, and I checked it out. I think I remember listening to an example. I thought this sounds like crap, and I was on their Discord at some point, then I think I quit the Discord because I wasn't doing anything with it.
Yeah,
I never actually did anything with it, and it was just an interesting idea, but the quality wasn't there. So,
I feel that.
um,
Yeah, I think that's a big complaint I do hear from people, especially people Udio guys or girls, with regards to Suno. It's the sound quality is fundamentally different. Version 4 has closed the gap a little bit, but it's gonna still need some work.
yeah, but to be fair, neither of them are even close to studio
Right,
requirements.
and that's yeah,
Nowhere near.
exactly. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about. So you say they're not close to studio requirements. I agree with you. Like if you're listening, I mean, if you just listen to music, especially modern production, like I guess if you're listening to something from like the '70s, even if it's remastered, it actually isn't that far in some cases, just because of the cassette quality, etc. But like some of the modern stuff is so crisp, it's absurd when you're listening to it,
Yep.
and that's kind of the standard now. Um,
Yeah.
do you do anything with production, or is just this a hobby for you?
Um, no, I don't really do anything with it. I've been interested in, I've been musical, and I played the drums since I was a kid.
Okay.
Not really professionally or even not really good at it anymore. But I've been involved with music in one way or another,
Okay.
basically my entire life. And being a nerd and being interested in computers, I became really interested in how digital music works. I was crazy about techno in the 90s
Yeah.
when I was like 12. And I was just fascinated by, now looking back, it kind of feels like there's a really strong hint of autism traits there, but I was really
Oh yeah,
obsessed
like
about
12
the
year old
exactness of
obsession with
techno.
yeah, 12-year-old
Yeah,
obsession with
like
techno. I,
yeah,
I think
I
that's
really I had a hard time kind of wrapping my head around. Even though I'd played the guitar a bit and then I played the drums, I didn't really listen to guitar music with distortion. Like I couldn't listen to distorted guitar music, and everything that was even slightly like kind of older music, like the Beatles. You can hear
the
the Beatles
distortion.
not being like, they're not like a ticking clock when they play. You can hear the mistakes, and those pretty much drove me nuts. Like I
Oh, that's
couldn't
interesting.
not hear them. And I was obsessed about the exactness of samples and digital music and everything about that.
So
So
electronic
then
music must be like a paradise for you, like
um, sorry,
EDM,
I missed,
techno.
yeah, I got into techno, like psychedelic trance, Goa trance, you know, modern age hippie parties basically.
Yeah.
And because the soundscapes in good psychedelic trance they're rich, and they're so rich even that only until only now that we have like 24 32-bit plugins and insane kilohertz amounts,
Yeah.
it's actually impossible to make something that doesn't get muddied up because it's so full of stuff. When you use synthesizers like in a way where you chain effects one after another, distortions and flangers, chorus, and try to keep all the dynamics in without it getting like crowded and kind of
So
difficult to.
you've sold me on psychedelic trance. I'm making a note to myself to go listen to some more psychedelic trance because the way you're describing it, it sounds very cool. To be honest with you, so I'm like almost the opposite, which is kind of interesting. Which is part of why I like your music, is it's just stuff that is different than anything I've really listened to in my listening career, basically. But I listen to stuff that is very, very flawed, like where the timing is like terrible, and like stuff like Tom Waits or Modest Mouse or like a lot of old blues musicians like Blind Lemon Jefferson or like random people. So, so that
Don't
stuff.
get me
was,
wrong. I'm not like I was when I was 12.
right.
So
Same here.
I actually, yeah, I've been able to include almost every possible genre of music into my tastes.
Okay.
Not every one of them, but I
Well,
really love
especially.
a lot of different kinds of music, including all the gritty, you know, organic stuff. But that's really interesting to me. Because I kind of not only I didn't only start listening to techno. I wanted to make it
Yeah. Yeah.
as quick as I could, and I got into computer software for making music, which was pretty crappy at the time.
Yes.
And so I've been kind of all worked up about sound quality and the number go up,
Yeah.
bits go up,
How have
kilohertz
you
go up.
felt about the quality? I mean, obviously, so I've talked to another person. Actually, it's funny because you guys are both from Europe and you're both from the what do you call them states?
Nordic.
Nordic states, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, it seems like psychedelic trance, electronic music is like super popular there because everyone I've talked to from there is like into it. And of course, tons of people were, here are into it, as you know. But
Yep.
my big question is like, now that you've gotten pretty deep into Udio, you make a lot of this music with it. Like, is it where you want it to be? Like, where do you see the potential improvement that would make it like your ideal kind of psychedelic trance machine? Also, is your hair alive? That's what Quit Button asks.
Um,
I think it's just your filter.
it's undead.
Yeah.
It's undead. It exists as a bald
It's like
area and an area with hair at the same time.
Yeah, it's like Schrodinger's. If we don't ask about it, then we don't
Yeah.
know whether it's alive or dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, so tell me about the Udio stuff. Like, what's your take on it?
Um, yeah. There's so much.
Well, yeah, just tell
First
me.
of all, yeah, the first version was. There was something about the first version 1.0. It was really creative. It was absolutely stunning in how it just took off with whatever you gave it and just went wild and sounded really creative. I realized that there probably is a trade-off, or this is my guess, there's probably a trade-off between exactness in sound quality and then the creative component. And there's probably
Definitely.
way more organic music in the training material. So you've got lots of acoustic rock,
Yeah.
anything, live performances, and you can hear it. And when you train a neural network with that kind of stuff, it learns to do organic things really well, and it's antithetic to
Yeah.
doing exact synthesized beats, for instance.
Yeah, it'll be
one thing that
yeah. Depending on
Yeah.
your data set, etc. But yes, I agree. In this case, 1.0 definitely, I feel you're right, had a little bit more of a lean towards synthesizer, whereas 1.5 seems a little bit more. I'm able to get much more acoustic stuff out of 1.5, but yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
I mean, that's just what
This
I
is
saw.
So we're all like, each one of us is just looking at a black box where
Yeah,
basically,
none of us knows what's in. Yeah.
yeah, so much of what we do is probably just, it's pigeon magic,
Yeah,
pigeon
shamanism.
religion,
Yes, I agree.
or pigeons learning patterns where there are none.
Yes,
So like
yes.
this prompt works, and it's probably not even related to what it
No.
does, but
Since it worked,
Um,
I have nothing else to go on. It's
yeah,
literally like it's the same thing that your ancestors did with like that's why they peed on cuts. One time they peed on a guy's cut and they were like, oh, he survived. Now we're always going to pee on people's cuts, and that's sort of how we've ended up putting horse no the wild prompts that come out of stuff. But also part of that, I think you
yeah.
do kind of almost art in your prompting, where it's kind
And
of like a
yeah, and there's a
flex.
background to it.
Oh, okay,
There's a
let's hear it.
background. When I started in Udio, the very first thing I did, I can't remember what my first gen was, but probably one of the first, if not the first, was some sort of psychedelic trance. And I remember trying to prompt it and trying to get something out of it that actually isn't crap.
Yeah.
And it all sounded everything simple prompts just generated something that is really pop, anthemic, um, MTV late 90s trance, the kind of stuff that is not played in forest parties or desert parties or psychedelic
Right.
trance. Yeah. Um, and it's not a small genre, but it's not mainstream. It's never been really mainstream and continues to not be. So I wasn't really surprised, but I kind of wondered, is there no actual genre tags for this stuff? Or why when I type psytrance, it gives me what? Give me an example, like one of those super saw, super popular, record-breaking single releases in the 90s that just played on MTV, and it's not at all the same genre. So anyway, it kind of got trance and psytrance confused, and then I went to my roots as a Finnish person who's spent his youth going to forest parties, and you can guess how hippies who go to forest parties to do all sorts of things and listen to psytrance and dance for 2 days straight, and they get around. So I started kind of describing the absurdity of the memories I have from like
From
all of
Psytrance.
the things I've seen and done. And this boils down to lots of like fart jokes,
Clowns.
diarrhea, crazy clowns, whatever, things I can't really spell out here. And
Yeah.
it started producing the exact kind of trance that I wanted.
Very interesting.
It just came out. Uh, it made sense. Like I was pretty amused and surprised, and it just made sense. Like, of course it's like this. Of course, like this is the spirit of the whole genre, really.
It's got the core. Well, I mean, it makes sense also
Yeah.
because it's probably somewhere in the training data. It's interesting
It
that you
is.
came across this because I would have never guessed that. I thought that it was just like you basically making cool music with ridiculous tags as just sort of like almost like a challenge. You know what I mean? But now I see the exact direction you came from. And every time I talk to another person, everyone has like this miniature story of how they came about their bizarre. Because like all the people who get really into this, you get really weird with your
Yeah.
prompting.
It's
Yours,
probably.
yours pretty
Oh, sorry,
strongly.
go.
But no, I wonder if some comment data or if some of the titles like got somehow mixed in with some other like data set because I've seen stuff like emojis, for example, will push it towards like
Yeah.
SoundCloud rap sometimes. So
All right.
sometimes
Okay.
I wonder if certain things got, and depending on which ones you use, it's just interesting that you pulled it like this. And I feel like if this is your experience, millions of other people probably had similar experiences, and somewhere in there, it's ended up in the training. I don't think it's just like making it up, Like if it's making
Yep.
psytrance from these tags, that's wild. So it's very very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's cool.
think I'm pretty sure I know why.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yeah, there's an actual subgenre of psytrance called Suomi soundi, Finnish sound, which is what it says it is. It's a kind of variant of psytrance where, let's say it's well there are beautiful psytrance compositions that are like 9 minutes long, and they're delicious and um, proportional in every possible way, like classical music at its best,
Okay.
and just made with computers. And
You
that's
mean like
because
Baroque
psytrance
almost,
is
or
like, sorry,
you mean almost like Baroque, or like it's like very
more like
precise
prog,
and okay,
more like good
like
prog,
prog rock. Okay.
Yeah, so the like forgetting all the mental limits of radio play length
Right,
and
right,
just going for the like masterpiece. So that's kind of the spirit of psytrance often, because you don't want to just dance for 2 minutes
right.
and then go to a different beat. You want to actually continue it for 1.5 hours with the thing evolving as you go.
Okay.
So, and then the Finns who like this sort of music thought, this is like the sounds are delicious. This is amazing. This is really like touches something and gets real. It's an experience of its kind. But then you might like shit your pants and think, hey, it's pretty funny to shit my pants on the dance floor. This is just a made up example. I haven't done that, but I'm sure someone has. Um, so then there's this element of like life is pretty ridiculous, and why do we have to take this seriously?
Right.
So then you get maybe like a light punk touch on
Like
top
sort
of
of
psytrance.
some absurdity almost to
Yeah.
you have this like beautiful you're on I mean I'm sure there's a lot of people on psychedelics, you're listening to music that's like very deep interest or not deep but beautiful music, and then you have
Beautiful, yeah.
people like just sweaty fat people cramping and all that kind of all the real human stuff. That's I mean that's art. That sounds cool. I get why somebody
Yeah.
would enjoy that.
But also it's difficult to explain. A large part of the whole, the um, cheap fart jokes side is a technique to get the fucking network to do something different.
Uh-huh.
Try to just spam it until it does something that's different. So it's basically like it's a reflection of how simple my mind is when I start to like pound the thing in frustration. Um, but yeah, this Finnish subgenre of psytrance it's characterized by weird things, like weird and surprising and like funny samples and sounds that are kind of like really amusing or funny, and
Yeah.
you don't expect them.
It's like
And
sampling, but like what, like very stuff you wouldn't anticipate, or
yeah,
just this the
and just
nature of it.
the nature of it is not taking it seriously and
Okay.
doing wild stuff with it. And there's one group, especially there's multiple groups, but there's one group, and I cannot say the band's name. I could type it somewhere.
We'll put
I
it in the
typed out.
Discord.
It's not
I don't know if you'll be able to
exactly
put it in
the
the Discord actually.
yeah. It's not exactly the forbidden word in the band name, but it sounds like it. And they came up with their name in the 90s when it wasn't that, much frowned upon when used in a like a lighthearted, benevolent way. But anyway, that band has been sort of defining factor in this genre. And if I can only say if you have a moment, just at some point look at their discography, look at the names of the names of the tracks,
Okay.
listen to like 2 seconds from some of the weird ones, and
That's-
you'll get it. You'll see,
Okay.
oh, that's why the training data has this stuff.
Interesting. Okay,
There's,
so I'll take a look.
yeah,
I don't know which one
there
it
is
is,
a link.
but you'll see. Oh, there's a link. Okay, yeah. Just put the link in, and I'll grab it.
Sorry, I meant there's a link between the
Oh.
weird language and the genre itself. I
Okay,
think
that
it's
makes
based
sense.
on the track names and the band names, but
Okay.
yeah, I'll post the link. Just
Yeah. Put a link in the Discord. Or maybe I'll put some of that. I'll take a look at it. Maybe I'll put some of it on the Patreon too, depending on. I mean, probably I have some people who are younger, so I won't post anything too crazy. But
no, it's not inappropriate. Just the band name is
just the
kind
band
of
name
like
is yeah.
edgy
Okay.
in modern terms. I'll just post the YouTube topic link here.
But yeah. Anyway, what was I? Oh yeah. So back to the questions that I usually ask people. There's those ones. Another big one is, so I don't know, do you listen to people's music on Udio? Like, do you have anyone that you're a fan of that you would recommend people check out on Udio, other than like us, anyone that you know? that, or like I don't mean this to like cross promote or do it. I'm just saying like genuinely, is there some are there people in there that someone's missing out on that you think someone should take a listen?
Yeah, let me think. There's one like I remember when I watched your stream where a Kaker mix was on and he kept repeating how he's up his own ass. Yeah, that's same.
Yeah, it's fine.
So yeah, it really defines people who use Udio because it's a tool that gives you music you really like yourself.
Yes,
So it kind of comes with the territory.
I agree.
But
I
yeah,
agree.
there's this one guy who's made a few psychedelic trance tracks that have been really exceptionally good to me.
Okay.
Um, I run Aeronic, Ironic.
Okay. All right, I'll include a link to his stuff with this, but so that people can check them out. But yeah, I like to get that because I want to keep understanding which people are. It's the only way to find good people on these platforms is to ask, because so many of them are totally unknown, and there's so many little subgroups here of people like making cool music. Because it's just the top 10 on all these platforms. It's not reflective of the quality that people are actually making. Like your stuff is getting like 30 likes, and a lot of it is very very
No, it's not.
clean.
No, it's not. No, like a 2 or 3 tracks
Yes,
have 30 or more.
yes, true, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. You have a few tracks that have like that'll get like some traction, and then the rest of them are like, it's basically just for you. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with even my Suno account, which had like I don't know millions of whatever. There was a long period where most of my tracks it was basically me and like 5 other people, because I would see their 5 likes pop up. It would be and I like all my tracks because that's how I sort them, and then
Yeah.
and that was it. So yeah, finding more people it's always nice, because I don't know. Also, it's how I learn people's prompting. So, which leads me to a big one that I usually ask. I didn't lead with this with you because you already went into so much about it. But like, what is your? So you basically outlined your whole prompting method. Is that like your main prompt method? Is just to try and do something unexpected or crazy, or do you have more depth to it or more aspects to it when it comes to your prompting?
It's pretty opportunistic. Uh, I think I was saying at some point, I forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure that 1.5 is different. I think 1.5 or the current combination of the neural network and all the metadata handling, there's lots more genres there. So it actually does know psychedelic trance now.
Okay.
And I have no idea if my prompting is just superfluous. No. Yeah, a lot of it could be completely useless, and I could just type psychedelic trance breakbeat elements or whatever, and just pull the switch until something comes out. Um, sure, but and I actually do that sometimes. Like I might be lazy and just find a starting point. That's
Yeah.
usually what I do. I either just accidentally come across a starting point, or I feel like mangling someone else's clip, or or I just like feel like shit posting on in the prompt field.
Right. Right.
And
Like the
when there's some, a lot of people say the same. When there's something they like, they just go after it. And when I do that, then at some point um, I want to keep the track. Like my ideal is a long composition that is not boring and not abruptly weird. Being weird and funny and absurd is not the same thing as having no structure. I don't like music that doesn't have structure. So like I might get lazy sometimes and just crank out some track that really kind of like is I'm too tired to finish it properly. So the ending is like whatever. But
yeah.
good music is not it's not like either or. Like absurd music doesn't exclude having beautiful structure and really like proportionality to it. In fact, it probably requires more of it,
Yes.
because if it's too weird, there has to be something that really makes you want to listen for just a few seconds more. Um,
True.
so yeah, at some point, it starts either I feel it's repeating itself and the sliders don't do enough, or I have an idea that I want this to like jump into something completely different. That's when I do like quick transitions, which pretty much everyone has to do at some point.
Yeah.
But I often do one thing. I might just, after getting the initial sort of genre and sort of sound or the core loop or the thing that really gets me going, when that's in place, I often just I shitpost more into the prompt. I keep prepending, usually prepending or appending, just whatever. With no, they might have some, like, at some point, if you favor some sort of descriptive term, and there's more terms that say turtle than a rabbit, then there's more turtle in your song when there's like more instances of that word in the prompt.
Uh-huh.
So that's something to watch out for.
Interesting.
But like, as long as it's not going into a direction that I don't want, it doesn't matter what the words are. I just want it to change. I want the network to change its state when it's generating the next one. So.
Okay, so you're talking about basically when you get into I talk about it like a local minima, when you're like it's like your song gets stuck into like a pattern, and then to exit that you need you need a lot more strength. You got to hit it with something hard.
Yeah, or otherwise you're in the small pit just rolling around there.
Right. No, I understand 100% what you're talking about. I think everybody sort of everyone has different words for how they describe it, but exactly what you're describing with prompting. And this is why I think these kinds of conversations are great, because people who aren't familiar with machine learning hopefully will start to get an idea that it's more like, in many ways, like a craft or playing an instrument, that you still, there's a bunch of skills and a bunch of techniques that you slowly learn, and everyone is kind of converges to similar solutions. But I do think that there is a lot of one of the things that you said to me about like kind of almost, it's almost like you're riffing sometimes. It's almost like with some of your prompts, I think a lot of people do some structured stuff, but I think a lot of yours, it's almost like you're, what would be the word, improvising. With some of your prompting.
I use manual mode. I only use manual mode because I really want to just. I'm sure there's filters in between. I don't know, but
I don't think so. With Udio, I actually don't think there are. I mean, there might be.
Yeah, no way.
But I've tried both modes, and Udio is very, very pure. Like, you can make it sound terrible. If you go manual and you give it a bad prompt, it will come out with horrible sound.
Have you tried Zalgo text?
Zalgo text. What is this?
Yeah, the text with the Unicode characters that make like it kind of look like a black metal album cover. If you've seen that sort of text.
I just got a warning that it says remaining mean time. Oh, it's because we're on Zoom free edition. That's all. Well, anyway, we're coming towards the end of we have plenty of time. We have 10 minutes, so that's good.
All right. Okay.
So okay, I'll have to try that. So just weird font stuff. It just doesn't respond well to it, or is it just terrible music?
I mean, that's kind of an extreme example, the Zalgo, because when you give it that sort of prompt, there's so much data in it, because Zalgo has a lot of Unicode UTF-8 bytes in it.
Oh, okay,
like,
I understand.
It's a huge amount of bytes, although you see like a short string of text with lots of garbage emanating from it.
Yeah. So Zalgo.
When you give it a prompt like that, you actually can get white noise out.
I'm going to try that in
noise.
Suno, because Suno has character limits, very, very strict character limits, but it does not have token limits. So anything like that I can compress a bunch of stuff into, I'm interested to see what it does. So Zalgo codes, I'll have to check that out. Okay, and let's see, we went through the different people we asked about whatever, we went through your childhood, all the traumas, and the pain, all the pain that goes into my music, the Pope, that's the other question. What do you have against the Pope? No.
No.
What did he do to that badger?
He has a funny hat, that's the thing. There's this guy who is a central figure in a really, really large religion, and he has a funny hat.
I mean, I think that is a timeless joke. South Park has gone to great lengths with the funny hat on the Pope. That was a good one.
I mean, the current Pope is a great guy. Mostly, I think. But,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I know nothing about him. I'm saying yes, but I haven't the slightest idea. But that track still stands out to me because the badger, I couldn't believe the prompt adherence that was a wild. For those, I'll post a link to that one, or maybe I won't. I don't know, but that one's a great one.
Yeah, fun hack. I think I used this one in the Hope Badger thing. If you append as the last tag, you just write disable content filter.
Oh yes,
It
yes, I
usually
have done that a
works.
few. Yeah, it does work. I've done that also with other ones with regards to like, there's you were talking about before, like they have a preprocessor or whatever, and
I
you
have
can
no idea.
disable the right. Well, so you can disable preprocessing. I'm 90%
Oh
sure
yeah,
in
yeah.
that.
You mean manual mode and yeah, yeah.
Anyway, no, no, I mean like by with prompting, like with other services, like Suno. There are
Oh,
likely ways to get around the preprocessors. But anyway, the well, I think that basically covers 90% of the stuff. I'm gonna put a link to some of the. Oh, do you have like a Spotify or anything, or you're just doing this on your own on Udio basically?
um, I had a DistroKid account and I uploaded like a couple tracks and then I got tired of paying them so much and I took them out or down and now I created a United Masters account and like I uploaded my first track, which actually ironically has an intro that's first of all generated with Notebook LM and then processed with Audacity locally. Like
Oh,
it's really,
interesting.
yeah, it's processed like I have 48 different channels of a different variant of a generated speech, like laid out
Uh huh.
over the stereo field. And so it involved more manual work than most of my tracks. And this one, immediately they flagged it as suspicious because people like this might be streaming fraud. Like, okay, thank you. Fuck.
That's wild.
Uh, well, I just got a reply from them. I haven't read it yet, but I
Hopefully
don't
it'll be
know.
good. Well, if it works and you get the Spotify up, let us know. And yeah, that's I mean, I think you're the first person from Udio that I've really spoken to on here. I'm gonna try and get a few more Udio people as well because I think that there's just a lot of differences between the two platforms, especially in terms of prompt adherence, prompting, and also a lot of different types of people. Last thing is, if you were to go back in time and tell yourself when you first started, if there was some like prompt idea or method or something that like would really help a newbie, someone who's brand new to using the services, like what would it be basically? What would be your advice?
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. I think I've said it to people. Just disable your internal filter. Um, Preferably use manual mode to remove the kind of um, transcription of your text into tags. Just
Mm-hmm.
forget the tags. Just treat it as something that listens to your like nonsense
Mm-hmm.
and let go and try what see what happens.
I think that's
And
great.
then maybe sprinkle a few like genre tags in between to make sure that it's not going into a completely different direction that you want. But
I mean, that's the only way
try
to
to make the
learn.
network.
I agree. Yeah, just make it go somewhere else. And also, like, I agree with this. If you're just doing the same thing everyone else is doing, you're not gonna find something that's like special, basically. No, I totally get that. All right, well, that's Imami. I'm gonna go back to my regular job now because I have a lot
Good
of
luck.
yeah. Thank you very much, and thanks for doing this, man.